Hello everyone and welcome back again. Now in this lesson we are going to proceed with the project here, and we're gonna start sending the request to our database and receive a response with a list of students. And what's gonna happen here is I'm going to put that list of students in a list view. Now because creating a list view is kind of, how can I say, it has a lot of it has a little bit of labor work, so I think I'm gonna keep it minimal for this lesson here, and I will create a very limited list view. Probably in the next lesson we're gonna observe how to create a customized list views, so we're gonna have so our code will be a little bit much more cleaner than it will be in a moment here. All right. Let's get started. First of all, our Android application is going to communicate to a web server that is away, or it's not inside Android. So it's not hosted on Android. It's right now outside. So whenever you go outside of Android, you're gonna have to communicate either through internet or through Bluetooth or whatever, or NFC. Right now you're gonna have to add. You're gonna need to add a permission to access certain things. So for example, right now I'm gonna send a request, an HTTP request. So that means that I'm gonna use the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Basically, what's gonna happen here? We're gonna need the internet permission in order for us to communicate to our web server through the internet. So how to do that? If I double click on the Android manifest and I go to permissions, if I hit add, I will get uses permission. So I'm gonna hit OK here, and I'm gonna seek for internet, this one, and I'm gonna save. And if you look at your manifest XML, you're gonna get uses permission, Android permission.internet, and this is what you get basically when you install your applications from the Google Play Market. What happens is it says, before you install the application, it says, okay, this application requires the access to the internet, requires the access to your contacts, and so on and so forth. These are, in fact, what you see, this list of permissions which Google Play is notifying you is basically looking at these lines. So whenever you are actually trying to download a Google Play application, what happens here is Google Play or Google Play Store is keeping track of these manifest files, and based on your SDK, based on your Android version, which you have on your Android device, and based on the certain devices that you have on your Android. For example, if you don't have a Bluetooth, for example, let's say, for example, if you don't have NFC on your device, then any NFC based applications that require NFC strictly and doesn't have any alternative, it won't appear on your Android market. If you on your Android market, on your Google Play Market on your device, if you, for example, happen to have let's say Froyo, and the application is trying to find jelly beans, it requires the jelly beans in order to run, you will not find that application on your Google Market. So basically, before you download an application, what happens is it loops over these permissions and said, okay, this application requires this and this and that permission. So basically, in order for us to get outside of Android device, we need to acquire this permission. Otherwise, Android is gonna, the SDK or the runtime will just simply throw an exception and says it cannot actually communicate with the web server. So the communication basically will be blocked. So let me close this, and I'm gonna basically close all these guys, so we don't need them for now, unless there is a compilation error or a compile error, then we're gonna try to resolve that later. So let's see here. So I'm gonna go to my secondary activity here, because the last time we had this application is we basically type here something, and when I hit send, I send that something to the other activity. So we're gonna try here on create. We're gonna put here the list views and list items, and we're gonna see how this is actually being created. But before I actually get into that, what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to try to instantiate a connection without anything, you know, just simply whenever the secondary activity just pops up, I'm gonna just print out something here in my log. So whenever I say log.e or log.i and so on and so forth, or log.v, I get my log just displays right there, so you can see it here. So we're gonna just simply instantiate a new connection and try to get this web service and get consume that web service. So first of all, there's a very important thing you have to note here is that the starting from, as far as I remember, starting from honeycomb or ice cream sandwich, or probably it's jelly beans. I really cannot remember exactly. There is a strict mode has been introduced, and then strict mode means that you cannot run a very how can I say long-term or for example any process that takes a little bit time to execute on the main UI thread. It will not allow you to do that. Android will in fact throw an exception immediately and says that this is a function cannot be executed because it requires a long time to be executed. There is another way of solving that problem. You have two ways. Either you put that task as an async task, which you're going to probably see that later, or we can just simply close right now the strict mode just for now, just for testing purposes. So it's a really bad practice if you close the strict mode. We're gonna just leave it, but we're gonna leave it off just for demonstration purposes. Otherwise, we're gonna have to make our class implement the asynchronous function, so it will run on a different background thread. So in order to do that, I'm just gonna go here and just write here a strict mode dot thread policy equals to new strict mode dot thread policy dot builder dot permit all dot build. And basically this is all written in one line of code. I could have just simply created a new thread policy builder and then just simply, you know, go down and then say policy.permit all, policy.build, and so on and so forth. But this is using the Fluent interface feature, so that's why we could actually like chain them up. And right here I'm gonna have to say strict mode dot set thread policy to my policy, and we are good to go. Now I can run something on the UI thread that takes a little bit longer to finish. But anyway, we're gonna actually take this out later on once we are done with the testing. Now, in order to get all the students, I will just simply create a new list of name value pair, and probably Control-Shift-O will do. Params equals to new array list of name value pair, and Control-Shift-O again to import the array list, and params dot add new basic name value pair. And right here I'm gonna put in just a header for our request get students, and right there just I'm gonna call get all students. I just simple header anyway. In the web service I didn't put anything there, but I'm just gonna leave it there. Now let's get our JSON object. So I'm gonna call here JSON obj object, so JSON obj equals to, and then I'm gonna call here JSON parser, which I've already added. I think it is Let me see. Let's just make sure that I import. Hey, there you go. So JSON parser from the controller from FitGuide. So it's ours. And right there, I'm gonna have actually JSON parser dot parse JSON from string. And right here, I'm gonna create a new HTTP manager, and then say dot get response from URL. And right here, I'm gonna put in my URL, which is gonna be, and you're gonna have to write it, and then you're gonna have to write it like this: http:// and then if you have a local host, then a local host. If not, then you're gonna have to write the in fact, as far as I remember, you're gonna have to write in the IP address. So in my case, just to make sure that my IP address is right, because this is not my, it's not hosted currently on that PC, so CMD. So basically here I'm gonna write in 192.168.1.6 and slash student service slash, again, probably you're gonna have here your localhost 127.0.0.1, and again slash student service, because it is located under student service, and right there you get we get this part. So we're gonna call this getAllStudents.php, and right there slash Control V getAllStudents.php, and the end. And if you would like to, we can just push that into a new line so it could be visible for you right now. So basically what happens here is just I've just simply called parse JSON from string, and please parse that string, and that's it. And right now I will take that JSON object which I have got, and I will just simply say JSON object mapper dot JSON to student object, and I will just simply pass my JSON obj and put that into a student object. So student std equals to that. So right now I will get a student in my hand. What I could do right now easily is just simply say well, toast dot make text, and well, let it be not a toast, let it be actually a log. It will be much easier. So log.e, and then here log.e, it will highlight as an error, but it will highlight in red so we can see it. And here I'm gonna have as a key student data, or let it be like high cap so we can see it, student data, comma. I'll just simply say name, comma. Oh, actually, I'm getting all students here, so I'm gonna need to have in fact get students by ID. Let it be like this then. Get get a student by ID, and instead here I'm gonna put here SID and put here whatever I wanted to pass. So I wanted actually to get the student number 2 like the one before, and I'm gonna here say name plus std dot get name plus right now index plus std dot get index plus, and in fact I'm just gonna put the ID right at the beginning. So, and I'm gonna put a space here, plus here ID plus std dot get ID. All right, and just put that all here, and I could even convert that to string if I want to, if the get index in fact gets, well, it returns an integer, it returns an int. Okay, so and log, we're gonna have Control-Shift-O to import the Java, the Android util log. and we are good to go. So right now you have this log D, debug E, I, W. WTF is what a terrible failure. So as you can see here, what a terrible failure. It's nothing fancy what you think of. And yeah, I think this is enough for now. I'm just gonna simply comment this for now. And let's run this and see what's gonna happen. So run and run this and wait for. Alright, so I'm gonna just simply send, and let's keep this log on. And if it crashes, it crashes. And let's see why it crashes. And it says unable to start activity component, null pointer exception somewhere. Probably I forgot to create an object somewhere. Alright. Alright, let me have a look here. Alright, let's debug this. Let's break this down into a little bit of into bits and pieces. I'm gonna take this guy and just comment this, and I'm gonna comment this as well. Probably I had to debug my application before I wrote a lot of code, but I should have actually tested everything. But hey, anyway, let's test it right away. So see what's going on. So I'm gonna create a small HTTP manager object. HTTP manager equals to new HTTP manager, and right there I'm gonna have an HTTP manager dot get response from URL, and I'm gonna grab exactly the same stuff which we have here, inject it right there. And since this guy returns for me a string get response, so I'm gonna have to assign this to a string result equals to that. And let us see what happens if, and apparently there is a well apparently probably I have dual brackets here. All right, and so as you can see here, this one returns me a string, and I can have here log dot e or I, for example, info. Oh, actually log dot I, and right there I'm gonna put here student data, and here I'm gonna just simply put the result in. And let's see, let's hope this is actually not an HTTP problem. So make sure that our HTTP client works correctly. And let me, yeah, this is right now an exception that I'm actually starting right now my stuff on a main thread, which is a bad idea, but hey, let me put here as a logcat, clear everything out, and send. And there we go. You see, student data, success 1, and student ID 2, index name Adil. So there you go. We got our students from our web server, which is good news. This is great news. Right now we have to figure out why we get a null, which is kind of interesting. So probably right now we are having a problem in either JSON parser or the JSON mapper. So the std I've already initialized and I've returned it here. How about this? In case, just in case, I'm gonna just simply return std right there, and as well as I see null, and then I instantiate it again, but anyway, return JSON object just in case. And I'm going to uncomment this, and in fact take out all this. I don't need this anymore, and take out this guy as well, So basically our HTTP requests and responses are, okay, we cannot take this out again. Okay, there you go. And let's see what's gonna happen when we run our application. So I'm gonna keep my logcat on, clear everything, and let's try to run this application and see what's gonna happen. So let's get logcat again and send, and a crash. Let's see what's going on here. And again a null pointer exception at the secondary activity, which is quite peculiar, I have to say. And unfortunately it doesn't say anywhere where it's happening. Does the console say anything? No. Alright, let's have a look and see what's going on here. Well, there's probably something I'm really missing here, for sure, because my code is perfectly fine, I think. Null pointer exception and no value for index. No value for error JSON converter. This is actually somewhere here. And I'm calling this. So no index for value. No value for index. Huh. Well, let's see how it looks like in the database then. It is in fact capital I. Oh my god. So yep, it's case sensitive, so don't forget that. And double click. And let's keep our JSON object right there, so clear. And minimize this. And I'm gonna hit the send. And we are good. And student data ID 2, name Adil, index 1254, which is great. So all right, so we are in business actually, so this is good, this is great. Now I've got now I've been able to send a request to our web server and acquire a student which I've got by ID, which as you can see here I've just sent it by right there. Okay, now let us try and actually get a list of students. So right here I'm gonna write one more function, or write one more list params, which I'm gonna actually grab pretty much everything right there, and I'm just gonna need to rename them again. So params 2, obj json2, and right now here it's not gonna get students by ID, it's gonna be get all students. And just to make sure that I haven't done any typos, I'm just gonna grab whole text from there and paste it, just not to be, yep, it's there. So just not to be, you know, not to be stuck again because of a typo. And okay, and right now I got the parsing JSON from a string. Now I need to convert that into a list of student std list equals to new array list of students, and I'm gonna go over here and say std list equals to, and in fact I could just yank this out and just simply say JSON, actually JSON parser dot parse JSON, actually parse JSON from string, we have it. In fact, JSON object mapper mapper dot JSON to student list, and I'm gonna pass here my JSON obj2, and I think we are good to go. And let me see here just to make sure that I haven't, yeah, I've already named it to capital I, and right now I can easily go ahead and just simply say well, I can actually log out the count of how many students for now. So log.e, and right there I'm gonna say students count in dB, and right here I'm gonna say count equals 2 plus std list std list dot I think length or size. There we go. Okay, let's compile and run this. So I'm gonna write it right there, and let's keep our logcat on and clear everything and run the send, and waiting for the second response. Okay, so basically it sends a request and received it, and right now sending another request to get the students, and then we got actually 4 students in our list, which is great. Now now we could actually go ahead and write our list view, so we can actually show out a list of students on our form here. So what I'm gonna do is jump up or jump down or jump somewhere into the secondary activity, and I need, actually I'm there, and I need the layout first, and I will go into resources, layout, secondary activity. Just give it a second to load, and I'm gonna go here. Let's give it a second. I'm gonna erase this large text view, and in fact I'm gonna put let me see here, and I think it's in the composite list view. There we go. I'm gonna drag out one list view right there, and I'll make sure it just fills my form, or fills my activity rather. So basically we got it filled here, and right here I'm gonna just change its name to LST students. I'm gonna hit enter, and yes, please update all the references, and yes, do that so in the XML. And right now, in order to create a list view of items, the items, you're gonna have to create them on their own in another layout. So right now I'm gonna have to introduce another layout, which is, if it's outside of your view here, it's called XML Android XML file, in fact. And here I'm gonna have I'm gonna just have a text view, I think. Text view. And I'm gonna call this std items. And I'm really sorry for this, guys, but as you can see here, I'm recording in a thunderstorm, so I hope you don't mind this. But hey, I cannot control nature, so off we go. Alright, so I'm gonna call this std item, and file-based resource name must contain, what did I put? Std underscore item. Okay, because I cannot put here any capital letters. And I'm gonna hit next, or in fact I'm just gonna hit finish. And if we look here at the item, you see it's a full activity, but it isn't, so don't be fooled by that. And yeah, as you can see, this is the content of our text view. The only thing which we need to do right now is to for loop over our list, and just simply inject that list, inject that for every item. We're just going to be injecting it inside there. So before we go on, we need to, I don't know why we have this, I think the text view doesn't necessarily, so Control-Shift-O will actually organize our imports as well. And here I'm going to have a list view, lst view, and I will come down here after our logs and everything. I'm gonna just say lst view equals to list view find view by id r.id dot lst, actually, yeah, lst students. There you go. And right now I'm going to create an array list. Because I don't have a customized list view yet, I'm going to create them by name. So basically this list is going to contain names, only names. So I'm going to here have a string of lst names equals to new array list of strings, and all right, and we can go. And for each student, for each std in my std list, I'm going to lst names dot add, and then I'm just going to say std dot get name, and probably it's colliding somewhere with someone, I think so. A duplicate indeed. So I'm gonna just oops, I pressed on the wrong button. I'm just gonna put here 2, or let be item, much better. And right now, in order to inject, put actually this array inside the list view, we need to create, we need to make something which is called an array adapter. So an array adapter, what we'll do is it will contain our list of strings, and we'll take the items, put the strings in there, and give it all to the list view. So I'm gonna have here a string array adapter string array adapter, and equals to new array adapter of string, and right there I'm gonna pass in, if you look here, it has the context, which is gonna be this, and then I'm gonna pass to it the item, the list view item, the layout, in fact this std item xml. I'm going to call this r.layout.student, actually, std item, and right there I'm going to pass in the list of names, so lst names. Okay, and right here I'm going to just simply say lst view.set adapter, and I'm just going to simply pass here my array adapter. And this is pretty much it. So let's hope that I didn't forget anything, and let's hope we will not have any more crashes. And let's see. So forget about this. So let's send, and there you go. We got the list of students. Now, of course, you see them. They are really quite small, which is kind of awkward. I mean, this is not enough for a finger to fit in there. I mean, it's a completely unusable interface, which we're gonna have to fix in a second here. But I would love as well to know which item did I click on, which is something which we probably need for sure. So in order to do that, I'm gonna create a new event listener. So I'm gonna say list view.add. Actually, dot set on item click listener, and I'm gonna pass here a new on item click listener, and in fact it didn't generate for me the code, which is really bad. Hang on a sec. Control 1. Actually, Control Shift O first. Control 1, add unimplemented methods, and there we go. Now, because we don't know, because it's quite ambiguous here, let me put semicolon. Because it's quite ambiguous here for the args 0, 1, and 3, I'm gonna actually rename them so you can see them. So parent, this is my adapter view. the view, which is going to be my view, current view, the first integer, which is the position, and the long is in fact the ID. All right. All right. So the ID of the item. It's not the ID of the students, but the ID of the item. All right. So I'm going to just simply say toast.makeText. And right here, I'm going to just simply say get application context. I'm going to say lst view dot get item at position, there we go. And for, oops, I added a strange character here. And for duration, it's going to be toast dot length. Let it be short so we can get it quite fast. Actually, we need dot show, I think, or did I forget someone? Let me see here, toast dot make text dot why on earth I'm having a strange behavior here. So method context character sequence, actually character sequence, so basically dot to string, I think it will work. And here I'm gonna have dot show, and we are good to go, I think. So let me compile this, compile and run this. So let's see. So send, and just forget about that, and there we go. So when I click on Mohammed, it just saves Mohammed, Adil, Amir, Adam. So we are good to go. We are in business now. How to make these guys a little bit larger? So in order to do that, you go to the std item, and right here we're gonna actually start modifying these parameters. So I'm gonna simply say Android, and let's see here. I think text size was, and I think we usually pass it in SPs here. And let's compile and run this again. Let's see how it will look like. So again, another send. Apparently, I'm going to just simply erase one of those requests because it takes a little bit of time. And there you go. So we get it a little bit larger. However, they are really quite close to each other. I mean, they are really close. So in order to fix that, I would go, for example, for Android padding. And I'm not specifying padding left or right, if you notice. I just specified overall padding. So you see left, top, right, bottom, start, end, and so on and so forth. I'm just simply gonna call padding. So overall padding, 10 dp, or oops, yeah, this is bad. Okay, and run this. Oops, okay. And as you can see here, we got already some spaces. So right now there is enough place for our thumbs to hunt, not only to hunt for the text, but as well to make sure that I'm not gonna mistakenly, my fingers will not overlap, over this item, and still they are all clickable. By the way, I just simply punched in the numbers here. We should actually look at the developer's Android website, which is hang on a sec. Actually, I closed. So we have to go to the Android developer, android.com. And design, and for example, the UI overview view, I think in the style, let's see, metrics. So yeah, there we go. This is the part where we are talking about how much padding we should include among our controls. Alright, so basically we start looking here for what exactly, how the styles and how we actually could get our metrics right for our fonts, for example, for our distances and so on and so forth. So please make sure that you follow this guide instead of just punching your own numbers in here, because at the end you are following the because since we are working with Android, we have to follow the exact user experience guides here. All right. So I think, whoops, sorry about that. Not this one, this one. So I think we could conclude this lesson. We could successfully go from our Android application, hunt for or get a resource from our web server over the internet, and retrieve it back, display it on our list view. So in the next lesson, we're gonna start working on probably improving on our application. All right. So thanks a lot for your attention, and see you in the next lesson.